Hogan. I'm here today to just do a Swordia guide for both a little bit for Mortal World and mostly for early Spiritual World. I just got into Spiritual World a week ago. There hasn't really been a good Swordia guide, at least in video form, so I thought I'd go through it quick, just to show kind of just how important it is to be like optimal with your builds and everything that you're leveling up. Even if you can't spend as much or are, just behind in BR overall. I don't even have access to the first, what is it called? Creation artifact. And I still currently 6.52 billion BR, which is ahead of some people who have multiple different creation artifacts, so they've spent much more than I have. And even being lower BR, you can still beat someone with much higher BR up to a certain extent. So just for an example, this also shows a little bit of Swordia, even though it is very messed up right now. So yeah, just a quick example. I guess just a quick note after seeing that early note for Swordia, early in Voidbreak, you are a glass cannon. You do lots of damage. You do not live very long, even with double shield, which I'll talk about in a minute. So yeah, that's just a quick introduction. We'll first go over some character things, and we'll go into like Void Break preparations for anyone in Incarnation or Nascent that wants to get ahead. You don't really need to start preparing for Void Break until you hit Incarnation late, and then you'll end up unlocking Void Break in like 3 weeks or something. So it's important to get a little bit of a head start if you want to be ahead in Void Break. But yeah, let's first start a character. Just a note for spiritual or mortal world, you'll want to go all 6 as swords for your relics. We'll talk about a little bit in auto versus burst, but for auto fire players, you'll want to have at least 4 great swords, maybe 5. I plan on going 4, but currently I only have 1 legendary long sword unlocked for Void Break. So I'll be going 4, but you can go 5. And for burst, you'll want to have at least 3 long swords, but I would recommend 4. But I haven't seen 6 long swords work as well, even though early on it might work well, but eventually you'll want to switch to at least 2 great swords, because great swords, although have much longer cooldowns, their damage output is much better. So it's 168 versus 98%, but it's 7 seconds longer cooldown. So yeah, that's just a little bit of about relics. We'll talk a little bit more about weapon, armor, and this a little bit later, but starting in Void Break, you will have options to either like a dual path or a regular of each one, which the dual paths are much stronger, but they require your auxiliary path to be high. For instance, the armor, you need to be Incarnation middle for your auxiliary path, and the bracelet requires Incarnation late, which I am not, so I don't have the dual path for that. And then the sword requires you to be Void Break. So especially for free-to-play players, you won't worry too much about getting dual paths of these. But if you can, they are much stronger. I get just a quick example for armor. You get access to both P defense and M defense for this armor, when it used to just be P defense. And even if you would think that P defense is much more valuable than M defense, especially with there being to physical attackers classes right now. The P defense is higher for the dual cultivation path, regardless. And you also get that effective empty fence. So, and then Curios, everyone should be using Cosmic Demon Spire, especially early on. If you are able to get it, the Tai sword is very good as well. And then the Evil Repeller does a lot of damage. You won't worry too much about this second effect, but the damage output is very strong. And then there's already very good very good guides for both Technique and Curio. You'll want to focus like Cultivation Path once first, especially for free to play, so you can try not to fall behind as much. Once you get into Voidbreak, one very good technique guide is Chroma, which you'll want to do as soon as you unlock, regardless. But yeah, I won't go too much into those because they don't change too much from Corporea to Swordia. So into abilities then, which is obviously the main difference between Swordia and Corporea. So as you can tell, I went Auxiliary Path Magica, and that is for the shields. Although for Corporea you would be upgrading HP and P attack, along with Swordia, your cultivation speed is a little bit slower, I am pretty sure. And also the shields are just very strong, especially for Swordia, because your defenses and HP are quite weak compared to the other two. So you will want to get these shields as soon as you can. If you're free to play, I wouldn't rush getting Windwalker too early, especially in Mortal. But when you're getting into Spiritual, you will want Windwalker. And Windwalker does end up being your main shield for any light spenders or free to play for pretty much all of Spiritual World, no matter which build you decide to do in Spiritual World. Then, I guess first, starting for Swordia for Mortal World, you have two sides you can choose from. This is now where we're talking about auto versus burst. The left side is auto, the right side will be burst. Both starting at Virtuoso. These ones can be used for either. You'll never use Connection, but you can use either one of these. They're actually quite strong for just being Foundation. So just to kind of show how auto works, for like abilities like Cloudburst or something, it's an auto summon Flying Sword. So you use one Flying Sword not on cooldown. So instead of most other classes where you have to, for each relic, they get summoned by themselves, Cloudburst will auto summon the sword relic that you have right after. It doesn't have to be immediately after, it's just whichever sword is next in the thing, as long as it's not on cooldown. It'll auto summon it along with doing damage that it says. Same with Gale. And then for auto fire, the two buffs that you will be using to increase your auto fire rate and damage is Skyrise and Shadow Strike. Skyrise increases your damage, while Shadow Strike increases the frequency that the swords are doing the damage, also giving you an immunity, and eventually it'll give you 4 seconds longer for this. And you'll also be using Sword Glare, which is your main paralysis, which is very good against other auto fire Swordia users, as paralysis is one of the ways to take down swords that are in auto fire. It's kind of a countermeasure for auto fire Swordia users, because Swordia is very strong, especially in the mortal realm. The other side you can do is the right side, which is Burst, which starts at Ballad, which the main difference is that you're consuming swords. So what that means is you need a sword to be up. So then you can use something like Gale to put up a sword, and then you can use something like Ballad to consume that sword, do damage, and then Ballad specifically helps break shields. And then something like Peacemaker, which is a very strong ability that also has paralysis and does very high amounts of damage, but it consumes all of your swords. So that is one thing to make sure to pay attention to, because even though it does do a lot, you do end up not having any more swords. And the more swords you have up, the more powerful it is. But if you have all 6 swords up and then you end up consuming it all, it does a lot of damage, but if the battle lasts after that, then you'll have no swords up. But one thing to help with that, though, is Sky Stealer. Sky Stealer at first reduces the cooldown of the 3 longest remaining swords, and then it eventually goes to 4. But not only that, but it also auto-summons 3 swords. So it gets your swords up quicker, and reduces the cooldown to get them up again. So Sky Stealer combined with Peacebringer is the main duel for right side burst in Mortal World. You won't really be using Sweep or Unity at all. And eventually when you can, you will be wanting to get Immortal's Will to reduce specified Mortal World effects, which is debuffs like Paralysis, Blind, Silence, and Freeze. So preparing for Voidbreak for abilities, you will want to get Shadow Strike up to 89 if possible. As you can see, I did not. But for pay-to-play players and some light spenders, you'll be able to get it up to 89, which you will want to do. You don't, preparing for Voidbreak, you do not need to get Sword Glare up to 79 or any higher than 69. It's fine just where it's at. Skyrise, you can get up to 59. It's not a big deal if you do or don't. It will be better for Immortal World, but you do lose out on the Stitch Shine later because you will not want to reset for just that level. But it's not a big deal if you decide you want to do it now. So, as you can tell, I prefer Auto over Burst. I think it just works much better with Magicka. If you want to go Corporate as your Ox, Burst seems to be better. But, yeah. So if you Auto Fire like I did, you'll want to use these 3 as your main abilities: Skyrise, Sword Glare, and Shadow Strike. And you will also be wanting to, if you can, use both shields. Some people do one or no shields, but from what I've found, both shields work best. And then for your 6th ability, you can go Cloud Burst or Gale to set up another sword, or you can do what I did and go for Paralysis Charm to get another Paralysis, which is very helpful in Mortal World, especially with all the Swordia users that are running around. Yeah, those are the 6 I did for Mortal World. Preparing for Spiritual World, the only abilities you'll really need to want to get up is Shadow Strike and Windwalker, because you'll be using Windwalker for pretty much everything and Shadow Strike for most things. But if you go right side, Sky Stealers, this is also good for Spiritual World, but Peacebringer usually isn't, because one of the main things about Peacebringer is its paralysis, which will not be effective once everyone gets Immortal Will to 5. Yeah, going into Spiritual World, you'll unlock these 2 abilities. Stellar Impact is a very strong ability to unlock right away. Pretty much everyone in Swordia will be using it. You get an auto summon of a sword. It does pretty high damage, and you also get 90% paralysis. So it's basically, it could be your new Sword Glare. So right away going into Voidbreak, you will replace Sword Glare for Stellar Impact. And you also want to get Maelstrom right away, which you will replace for your 2nd ability of, most people prefer either Gale or Paralysis Charm. So you will replace one of those with Maelstrom. And then you will unlock these abilities later with Wob. We will get to that later. But from what I have seen, just as speculation for now, Chainbane doesn't seem to be as good compared to the other buffs. The other buffs are very strong. For instance, Skyveil is kind of the same as Sky Stealer, with the 50%, but it has a 50% chance to ignore ability attacks, which We'll have to see how that works, but it does auto summon 2 swords down on cooldown and reduces cooldown to 2 swords by a much longer, much faster than Skystealer does. And Skyfall is just a better version of Skyrise, which you will get rid of Skyrise later. And then Twin Slash consumes 2 swords, but then inflicts silence. So in Spiritual World, you can either go full auto, you can try a full burst, but Peacebringer does. I mean, besides the damage, it doesn't work too well, so it's kind of hard to do. Or you can go a combination of both, of auto fire and burst. So yeah, that's just some. It's just some things about the abilities. Just a very quick loadout for what I have going on so far. You actually, despite what most think, you do not actually need your shields procced. I think having shields procced works good against Magicka users for the most part, but against other Swordia users, it helps to have your shields a little bit later because they'll be dealing the most damage from in this area. But having them procced does help against something like a stun to try to evade or block that. Yeah, this is just what I've been using. This array will unlock also, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, you can also, there's multiple different things you can do, just play with it a little bit. This is what I use. And yeah, that's pretty much it for character. We'll hop right into, I guess we'll go into some Voidbreak preparations then. Alright, going into Voidbreak, you'll first have to ascend, and then you'll be able to unlock go into Voidbreak. So after you do that, if you get into Voidbreak, even if you have extra XP, which we'll talk about later for preparation, right when you get into Voidbreak, you will want to unlock both portals. So you'll have access to this. You will want to unlock both of these right away for something that we'll talk about later of what you're preparing for, what you're preparing with. So just some preparation things. If you are fast enough in your cultivation, I would recommend getting to at least Incarnation Middle on your auxiliary path first to get your Incarnation Perfection for your Swordia, your main path, and then start working on your main path for the rest of it, even though you won't be getting new stages. The reason for this is so that way you can get to Voidbreak Middle, or just up as soon as you can. If when you ascend, you do end up not making it to Voidbreak Middle, I was able to just make it in. You can stay in Voidbreak early if you're okay with losing a little bit of combat advantage and story progression for the beginning. It does help with your absorption ratio. You do get for being imperfection, you do get an extra absorption ratio bonus. So that's good to have early, while you're in early. And I've seen that has been recommended, especially for free-to-play players who want to try to keep up, is you'll want to keep gaining XP in early, and then until you're able to just skip straight through middle too late, you want to stay in early for that extra absorption ratio. And that's just one way to try to stay caught up as much as possible. Another quick note for right when you get into Voidbreak, you will unlock this new ore extractor, which uses R6 fruits instead of R3. you will want to use all your other 3 fruits before ascending, as they will just pretty much go away. And then you will not want to be using any of your regular fruits until it makes you. So for instance, right when you unlock all of these to gray, they'll make you use like 6 fruits or something, 6 or 3 fruits to be able to get into green. And then they also make you use 6 fruits for green to blue, which I just had to use. But you will not want to use any of your fruits until it makes you for upgrading extractor. Try to get the most XP you can from those fruits. So that's just some stuff to save up for this. Not much changes for your pills. Just want to use highest pills you can. And then same for elixir. Not much changes here. And then I guess quick note is you get this inner demon tribulation. You don't need to focus on this too much. You'll kind of get it as you go. You can look at it and do it if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend like forcing yourself to like speed through this. It's not a race for this. And note: do not spend your inner demon remains on elemental law fragments or pretty much any of this stuff early on. You'll want to save up 75 of this for your demon fey chest, which will give you demon fey tokens, which you'll use for this, which is very important. You will not want to spend any of this on elemental law fragments or anything else, even though very early on it is very tempting to, with the limited amount of law fragments you get unless you pay money, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, that's pretty much it for your honing. And realm. Yep, so just unlock those 3 realm spots right away. Going into more stuff you should be saving. There's lots of guides on this already, but save your reveal stone. It is very important. Your goal is at least 24,000. The more, the better. And the reason for that is this nature mantra. Nature mantra is used for your cosmic laws, which we'll talk about later, which helps unlock some of the abilities that you saw earlier that I didn't have unlocked. And although it is tempting right away, try not to spend it on the elemental law fragments. If you do happen to be like over 30,000 reveal stone, you can get a couple of them. I think it's fine, but try not to as much as you can. You'll want to do at least 1 to 2 refreshes a day. So this would be my second refresh. And you'll want to get nature mantra because you'll need a lot of them, and you'll want to start saving those up immediately. And then also try to save up 20 of these tokens right away for something we'll talk about in a little bit. And another thing you'll really want to save, especially when you get into Incarnation late, it's fine if you start a little bit later than right when you get into Incarnation late, but try and save up all of your Cosmic Atlas, all of your Ancient Treasure, and all of your Pet Index. Reason for that is if you end up getting Atlases, which if you saved up enough, you do end up getting a couple of, they update from the realms that you unlock, and you'll get Voidbreak materials now instead. Knowing this info very much helped me. I got I want to say 8 of these, and you get very good materials from it. You can also save these things, but they're not too important to save. It's just that this Iridium chest updates to R6 and gives 23 instead of 7, but it's also very hard to pull one of these, so it's not a big deal if you save them, but yeah, I just make sure to save 20 of these when you get into Voidbreak, and I'll show you why in a second. The reason for that is if you go here is for these challenges here. You have to use 20 of those tokens each to complete it, and each day has that challenge. And if you try to do it each day, especially for free-to-play light spenders, you will not be able to get it. So then the recommended thing is to wait till day 7 and then use all 20 to get all of them done at the same time. And it's really important to be able to get this curio, not for the curio itself, but for the set bonus that you get, which is the 10% Loboto aura bonus. Moral Friendship, we'll talk about later, but you get one from there. And then you'll also need one Sacred Jade to unlock this assistant, which you can get from the X-Steel shop. This is most important thing going into Voidbreak is laws. That and Immortal Friends are two of your most important things right away. I guess also ultimates, but those are three of the most important things you end up unlocking. Laws are important because for this right here, every one level higher than your opponent grants you plus 0.05% damage dealt. So that means for every 20 levels higher you have than your opponent, you'll gain 1% damage dealt on them, which ends up being a lot. And you also need these laws to be able to get your cosmic laws up, which unlocks your abilities. Right away when you enter Voidbreak, you'll want to get all these to at least level 10. I think it was level 14 or so that they recommended. But for pay-to-play players, it's fine if you do the 10. For free-to-play, I'd recommend getting to 15 for all of them before you start using your Blitz Fruits, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, get all of them to at least 10 before you start blitzing. Blitzing is used by law fruits, which you can get from various places, which we'll talk about later. Make sure not to click this button. It is a death trap for most new players. Many in my server and in my cluster that we have did it and fell behind day one. And I mean, it gave me an advantage because I knew not to click it, but it set them back a little bit. And if I didn't help them, they probably would have did the same thing. So it's important not to click this button. Even if you're pay to play, it can set you back a little bit. So do not click that. So what you'll want to do is after you get them all to level 10, you'll unlock blitzing. You will have to unlock these first with law fragments. Early on, law fragments are very scarce. We'll talk about ways to get those later, but law fragments and fruits are the main sources for elemental laws. So what you want to do after you get them all to at least level 10, you'll want to use your lowest grade fruit first. You will not want to touch your gold fruits if you can for the first day. If you have to reach down to 20 hours, and you think you'll reach down to 20 hours, next couple days go ahead and use them. But try not to use them if you don't have to. But use your lowest level fruit. You have 120 hours max each day of blitzing, which is why I still have these fruits left over. So you want to use the fruit. So you just click on it. Maybe get 1 hour of blitzing, so whatever this is. You'll get the points for that. You'll go to your law that you want to upgrade and click auto activate. And then that'll level the fruit up. That'll level the element up. Then you'll want to go back. Just repeat the process. Do it again. You want to get the law to level 50. And after you get the law to level 50, you want to switch to the next law. And after you get down to level 50, switch to the next one, and the next one. The reason you want to get them all to level 50 first is for this law learning multiplier times 2. So for each individual law, the learning speed will go by times 2, making new blitzes more effective, and you'll get more law points faster. And it's just the most optimal way to do it is to get them all to 50 first. Then after that, you'll want to start on your laws again, and you'll go up to 150 for the next learning multiplier. This is just the most optimal way to do one at a time. Get them all to 50, then all to 150, then 250. Just one at a time, all the way. You'll want to do fire first, going to 150 to unlock your first immortal friend. There will be an immortal friend unlock every 100 levels, so at level 100, 200, 300. So there is a most optimal one to do first, but then after that, it doesn't really matter. The first one is fire level 100. So you want to get fire to 150 and then do any order of these ones to 150. Then after that, the most important one to remember is 150 to 250. You want to do water first because they unlock arguably the most important immortal friend early on. So then after you get immortal 250, then and after 250 is when you can start your cosmic claws if you're free to play or light spender and you want to. For physical, it'll be these. Magical, it'll be this. Since this is mostly a Swordia guide, you will be doing Thunder Law first. You will want to 250 for free to play or 350 for pay to play. I would really recommend the 350 for pay to play, but it is fine if you decide to do it earlier. Just no earlier than 250. After you complete G3 is when you unlock your first ability, which would be Skyfall. You will want to do Thunder Law first. And then after you complete G6, you'll unlock Twin Slash, which are both very good abilities. And you also get Suppression Boost or Suppression Resistances, I think it is. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but every single floor you get, actually we can probably get Suppression Resist for every floor you complete. So you will get a bigger increase for Cosmic Claws, but you don't want to do it too early on, otherwise your learning rate will not be as high. And this is also where you'll end up using your Nature Mantra as well. For every floor, you'll need to use at least a couple of Nature Mantra. You don't want to get bottlenecked, so that's why you want as much Nature Mantra as you can get. So for light spenders or pay to play, I consider myself a light spender, although I did spend quite a bit more on laws than I would on anything else. I did save my budget knowing that this was coming up, but I'd recommend getting to 350 and getting Thunder Law to at least G3 completed, and then you can either just go straight to G6 completed or get a couple of your elemental laws to 450 and then do it. But it doesn't truly matter too much at that point. You'll want to hold off on Lux Law for a little bit. I would recommend getting all your laws to 450 before you do Lux Law. So yeah, that is pretty much it for laws. It's just very important not to mess up. Do not click this button. You don't want to fall too far behind, especially if you're gunning for the top. But yeah, that's it for laws. We'll go into a few ways to get like the fruits and law fragments, and a couple ways to get the Nature Mantra as well, besides just the Reveal Stone. Although the Reveal Stone is the main way you'll get your Nature Mantra. Alright. The first one is the garden for your law fruits. You will need law fruit seeds, which each week you can go to Sect Library. You can get 20 of those, which will cost 2,000 contribution each. You will want to save up your contribution as much as possible going into Voidbreak because you will need lots of it. This is also one of your main ways to get Heavenly Wine, which we'll talk about later. And you can get 2 of those each week. You can also get 2 of these as well, which give 1,000 Friendship XP each, which is a lot. But you will want to get your Love Fruit Seeds each week. You'll probably want to get your Heavenly Wine each week, especially if you're a light spender, or maybe even free to play if you have enough contribution for it. But yeah, this is your main one. You get Love Fruit Seeds. This will probably be about half the amount of Love Fruit Seeds you end up getting. It's important to get them from there. Some other places to get Love Fruit Seeds is the market. Sometimes the market will have some Love Fruit Seeds. It varies a lot. Like on the first day, I got 4 Love Fruit Seeds. Some of my sect mates only got 1. So I wouldn't count on it as like a definitive number. It can range anywhere from like 1 to 5 I've seen. Or even 0 sometimes. Another place that you can get raw fruit seeds is Memorial Banquet, which I just ended up finishing. Every third day, we'll click on here, will be a poetry party, which would be the law items. The other ones are peach party, which is pet items, and wine party, which is zodiac relic items. So every third day you'll get law items from this banquet. And you'll see some of the rewards that you get from this. You get 2 for the rank that I'm at. You get 2 of these, 10 of these, and 100 technique points, which is very nice. And you can only do banquet once per day, but we'll talk more about this later. Yep, this is one way to get raw fruits and raw fruit seeds, and also fragments and mantra. So I got lucky, I got 1 mantra and I got 4 fragments. And then hopefully we want hoping to get some extra raw fruit seeds. We want at least 9 because I'm running low on them right now. Okay, we got 10, that's good. And then we got a decent amount of fruits as well. So going in the garden, right away you will have some speed ups, which you hopefully have not used yet. Right now I have 142 hours. You should hopefully have for free to play, I want to say 200, but I'm not quite sure exactly how much. And then for pay to play, for pay to play, I consider having at least 1 artifact. Really close, or already having 2, maybe even more than that. You'll have at least 300 plus hours saved up, which you can use right away to do speed up some of your seeds. For free to play or light spenders, you will want to just grow gold right away. It's okay if you end up saving up some seeds. You can end up just growing blues later, which are technically better, but I guess for free to play you can also use the blue ones to try and get that early Blitz XP, which is very important. But what you will be wanting to do each day is watering. You should have 2 free waters, and you should be getting at least 2 paid waters. For pay to play, you want at least 3, which would be 160 Fadium for the day. So it'll be 5 waters total. You do also want to try to get your gardener up to at least level 20. I got mine to 24 right now. 25 is also a big increase, but I don't think it's possible before Voidbreak. Yeah, you have at least 24 garden slots. Get all of them to at least. You want to probably do only gold right away. Purple's fine as well, but you do run low on seeds, especially if you had a lot of speed ups available. But it's okay to save up seeds. You can eventually just do blue later, like I said, and just have your gardener set to be planting auto harvest. I have mine at gold right now, and yeah. That's one main way to get your raw fruits. And then another way to get raw fruits and fragments is Fake Billion. Quick note for Fake Billion, you will want to save up these fake tokens as well. You'll want to get all the cultivation bands you can each time. You'll want to, for Swordia, you'll want to get, or any class, but for specifically Swordia, you'll get this, which you'll want to, for light spenders or free to play, you'll want to use up until it's not 120% effective anymore, so I would not be buying it anymore. For pay to play, you can use it all the way through 100% as well. And then everyone will want to buy Demon Lore right away. And then this is also one place you can get blue raw fruits, which is 60 fading each, which you can get. Probably do want to buy a couple of right away, especially early on, because you only have many raw fruits. And you'll want to try to get your 120 hours of blitzes as much as you can. With spending, I was able to do my 120 hours each day so far, but for free to play, you will not be able to. So, but this is one way to get raw fruits. You will want to save at least 5k Fadium going into Voidbreak, but honestly, if you get 10k, you do use a lot of Fadium very quickly. This is also one place you can buy raw fragments. I think it's 2 per refresh, so it'll cost 100 Fadium for 2 fragments. This is one way to get fragments early on. You'll want to buy those every time early on. And then if you're free to play, I would not recommend getting any of this, no matter what percent it's on. You will want to use your Fadium on fragments and fruits. So I wouldn't worry about any of these, no matter how much you think you might need them, because you do want to try to keep up on laws. And then never buy flowers that's worse than 70%. And this is also a place you can get paintings, which also give friendship XP, which you can get if you're light spender, pay to play at 60% or less, because it does cost lots of Fadium. So it's something that's harder for a free to play to get, but if you can afford it, go for it. Yeah, those are just a couple of ways to get get fragments, get raw fruits. You do also get fragments a couple times on each one of these quests. Oops, skip through that quick. Okay, I guess I can't click it, but it'll be the same. This is the second one. They'll be in the same spots. So you can get 5 fragments early on. And then this is important for white spenders or pay to play. Oops, that is the wrong one. You get these time packs. Those are $5, $15, and $30 option for both laws and friend packs. For light spenders, you will be wanting to get the $5 pack of each of the loads. $5 pack of each of these. And for pay to play, and if you can, get the $15 one, but if it's out of your budget, I wouldn't worry about it. You pretty much get them each day, so if your budget's $15, I'd get 3 $5 packs from each day. But for pay to play, I would recommend getting both the $5 and $15 so you stay ahead. And these are really good value, especially early on, because you get these, which you get bottlenecked very early and often. So I would recommend getting those, especially early on. If you plan on spending money, now would be the time. Don't be hesitant if you want to spend it. Obviously, stay in your budget, but it is the time to spend, because you do need lots of law fragments, especially early on. Eventually, you won't need it as much. You do get that wine and some mantras from World Apex, but you don't have World Apex to go to right away, so it's not something you can especially count on. Yeah, it's just some ways to get your fragments and fruits. And just know about clone. If you pay to play, you need to get your clone to Voidbreak early. It's not really a debate. You should be able to, the amount of money you're able to spend, you should be able to get it. You want to get your clone to Voidbreak early so you can get your material gain up. You do want to, for light spenders and free to play, you do want at least 200 million Sporidium going into Voidbreak. So if you can't afford your clone to Incarnation late, it's fine. It'll just end up being Incarnation middle. And I did end up managing to save enough Sporidium to get my Voidbreak early immediately. Just the way I did that was, I wouldn't recommend it, but it is something you can do. When you're in Incarnation, selling all of your gray and green material. The forage XP is important, but so is Sporidium. Sporidium, everything costs a lot. Just like foraging costs 1 million each. So it's important to get that saved up. So if you need to start selling some green material, I think it's fine. Don't sell any of your cores, though. You do need those. And then just a quick note about pet. Save up your fruits, or save up your plants. when you're in Voidbreak, you do get this feed EXP bonus. So I would recommend saving those when you're like in halfway through Incarnation Late, is starting to save up those plants. You do get a huge EXP bonus by saving those up. And then also just focus on one pet. For Swordia, the Draco line is usually the best. And then just a quick note about Zodiac. Zodiac kind of takes a backseat. I don't want to say it's not important because you do get some good stats from it, but stuff like Laws and Immortal Friends are much more important to focus on, so I wouldn't focus too much on Zodiac, especially early in Voidbreak. And yeah, because you aren't really be planting any flowerwood, or more specifically, don't plant any flowerwood. Just to go over some events that you unlock in Voidbreak. One is the Celestial Prize, which you got right away when you started this game. It's the same as it was before. Lowest gas, no duplicates. Hoping to win this one. Still don't have my artifact, so that'd be nice to get that. You do unlock Miramon, same as usual. I guess just to go over some of the different BR requirements. You get this one, no BR requirement, 4.5, 6, 7.5, 9. To know what you'll get before you get into Voidbreak. Usually times your BR by 4, and that's what your BR will be in Voidbreak. So if it's 1, it'll be 4 in Voidbreak. That's a good estimate. Also, don't worry about Tribulation too much going into Voidbreak. As long as you have 250 million-ish HP and MP combined, you're fine. So don't buy the Tribulation Charm. It's just a waste of feeding. And then going into one of the other important things of Voidbreak is the divinities. First we'll go to Immortal Friends. Immortal Friends you mostly unlock through elemental laws, such as this, which is why you want to do upgrade your first law in specific order, and then the rest don't matter after that. Which is why for fire, which is why you want to do fire first for this, because Hong Fu unlocked at level 100 of fire, Princess unlocked at level 200 of water, and then Yang unlocked at level 300 of earth, which then Crane will unlock at level 400 of metal. So that's just goes for like which one you want to do first, and then the order of elemental laws you do after that doesn't matter. The first Immortal Friend you'll want to level up is White Astra to level 21 or 31. I've seen the recommendation be 21, but getting White Astra to 31 helps with your inner demon, so I decided to do it. For free to play, I would recommend only getting to 21, but if you want to get to 31, it's not a big deal for pretty much anyone. But it does cost another bottleneck thing, which you'll want to use sparingly, especially for free to play, since the next one you're going to do after White Astra is Princess. Princess, you go all the way up to 81, and that is for this watering effect of +1 hour, which is a very big deal. You don't want to go to 130, although it is a Respira attempt of +1. There's some other things you'll want to do before then. But yeah, I want to get Princess to 81, which for free to play will take a while. For pay to play, I've seen some people already complete it in like three days. So that is the main one you'll want to do right away. And then you'll want to start saving you can get them to level 11. You'll want to start saving your XP up for Crane Boy, who you're going to actually get all the way to level 130 for the Cultivation Pill. So that'll take a lot of XP. So even though you'll be waiting on it, you could be waiting on it a little bit from that one to that one, you'll want to save up your XP for that. You can pay $1 to get this one. Do not level it up. It's fine if you do. It's not a big deal. Just try not to. And then spiritual roaming is something it's the most gacha element I've seen in this game, besides something like Treasure Trove, but it is very gacha. It's like your average gacha. For light spenders and pay to play, it's important to note that there is a permanent pass that you can buy here. As you see, I bought it. You get some good instant rewards, but then you also get 10 of these each week. So that's important to get it if you can afford it. So then you'll roll. So then this is just you hit roam. You'll either get some of exploration points, or you will get an ultimate. An ultimate is these people. And your ultimates are what you saw before in the abilities of your array. Your array is very important. It's your array ultimate. They can deal heavy damage. They can do very, very good support. They can do some good debuffs. And it's an important thing to make sure to keep track of. For Magica and Corporea, I'm pretty sure there's other guides about this. I'll go just for Swordia. By the way, this is all just what I think. You can go something different, but for Swordia, you want 2 demons, 2 shaman, and then for your 5th slot that you eventually unlock, but not for a while, you can either go a 3rd demon, a 3rd shaman, or a 3rd winged, or a 1st winged. You can only go 3 max for specific ones. That's why you don't end up going 4 for anything. But you will end up only using legendaries eventually. Although I have heard that this one right here is also a very good epic to get for Swordia. We've been playing around with what we think will be kind of meta for the array for Swordia. And so far what we found is you're going to end up using, for surely, 2 divine, or sorry, not divine, 2 demon, 2 shaman, and then we're still debating on which one will be best for the 5th one. We've been looking at individual ones, but you can also play around and find out yourself. But that's just the basic guide for that. And yeah, just important note, you unlock your 3rd slot at Voidbreak late. This one, or Voidbreak middle, this one Voidbreak late, this one wholeness early. So for all of Voidbreak, you will only have 4 slots. This one will come much later. You don't need to speed through unlocking your 3rd slot, but it is important to keep leveling them up. Try not to level up the blue ones too much unless you're free to play and you need to, because you will not use any of them, even if you are free to play. It's also important to note that they only unlock their ultimates at R6, so after they get through 5 stars, and you have to get a duplicate of them, and then level them up one more time to get 6 stars, or R6. So they're not too useful at 5 stars, although I am using this guy instead of someone who has everything unlocked because his damage output is insane. And also another important note, I don't really know how to pronounce these, but these guys you won't use at all because they don't really, they're just a stats booster. The stats that they give here are you can use even without them being equipped, so you will want to level them up, but you will not be using them in your array. And that's pretty much it for divinities. Just level up your mortal friends, do your mortal banquet every day, do your spiritual roaming when you can. You do need to pay a lot if you want to get ahead. For those who can do that, that's a serendipity shot, where you can get all of these. And if you are pay to play, I would recommend getting all of these. It is very good. It is very important. And then I'm not entirely sure if every one unlocks it when they Voidbreak, or if it's just that we just somehow hit that time. But there's Forge Assembly, and I would recommend, especially for free to play, not to do this, or light spenders. Sorry, I'm back. You will want to get the 120 attempts total in Forge Assembly. So you can just use gray or green material for that and do that. But I'll just go through some of the pros and cons of it quick. Pros, if you do get enough legendaries, you get these different items. You do get this Curio, which, I mean, it is HP, but I don't entirely think it's super good for what you give up for it. But that's just my opinion. And you also get these, which are really nice to get as well. And then just some of these things right here. But just to note, you have to be able to forge legendary. So if you're free to play, it is hard to do. And we'll go just do some of that. Oops, we'll look at that later. And also the ranking rewards aren't that great. You do get the Forge Stone, but the only other thing in rank rewards is these treasury ticket bags, which for like non-cosmetic, unless you really care about cosmetic, it's not that important. And it's hard to, if you're free to play or light spender, to get the top 20 slots. So just forge, try to get top 500, 200 if possible, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. And the reason for that is forge points. So as many of you know, forge points are important for especially those of us who aren't usually too good at forging. They give you the pity bonuses every 100, and at 600 you get a guaranteed legendary. The forge points, though, don't transfer from Forge Assembly to regular Forge. So if you ended up getting to like 99 Forge points and this event ended, you can't go to your regular Forge and have that 99 points. And if you were just 1 point off of getting the guaranteed legendary, you can't get it anymore. So that's why I don't feel it's worth focusing on this too much. But that's also up to you. Just another quick thing that you unlock is this Friends Across the World. You do get a lot of time to do it, so I wouldn't rush through it too fast. You don't really need to. You do get really good rewards from it, though. You will want to complete it. You should end up completing it, especially if you're light spender, pay to play. Free to play should complete depending on if you hit Voidbreak in time. But you do get 23 days, and I'm only 10 points away from unlocking that. So, yeah. And yeah, that should be pretty much it. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'll try to get to them. If you want to you want to get more information about something else, just let me know. I can try and make a video about it if it's necessary to. But yeah, that should be it. Thanks.